All right, so far we've heard about the lack of cultural and gender diversity, hearing impaired. I'm going to talk about old people. I think the next few are going to get really depressing. We're going to talk about death and dying, genocide, republicanism, all kinds of stuff. So 16 years ago, I founded an organization that all we wanted to do was change the way people age in this country. And I stand here in Los Angeles, California, in the heart of darkness of aging. I have a brochure on liposuction or Botox or anything in my pocket, so I'm flying without a net up here. And I'm going to get to in a minute to the idea of how performing arts can do this. We serve over 7,000 seniors in 32 retirement communities in 4 counties in Southern California, and we're developing a national model for how to change this. We developed this building that was the first arts-oriented senior retirement community about 7 years ago. And it was in the LA Times. My picture and name was in the article. And so I'm sitting in my office one day, and this woman, Suzanne Kennody, calls me on the phone and says, "I'm not an artist, but I like this idea of this community. And I think I might be a writer, and maybe I could move in." So I encouraged her, and Suzanne told me a story of woe about her being aged before her time. She had suffered a traumatic accident. She was having some trouble with depression and chronic pain and things like that, so old before her time. So she moves into this building that we created called the Burbank Senior Artists Colony, and it's 141 units, and originally the idea was retirement communities, the thing that people have in common in these places is that they're old. So it spurs all kinds of really interesting conversations like, "Hey, does your elbow hurt too?" Or, "Hey, Sid, how many medications are you on?" What we really thought about was, what if he took that and took age out of the equation and stuck art in instead? And people talked about stuff that they could actually care about. So we created not only the intellectual software, the programming and classes and college level stuff, but also a building that had a theater in it and art studios and performing arts areas and a media lab where people could make films. So Suzanne moves in, and her first order of business was joining a creative writing class. And as the first assignment, they said, "Write something about conflict." And so she turns in a 12-page screenplay. This is a woman who has never written anything before in her life, which is utter folly for the writers in the room. And when somebody handed me the script, what I thought was, I would really like this not to suck, if possible. And I opened it, and it was this script called Bandita, and it was unbelievable, funny and touching and beautiful. And it's basically the story of this older woman in Burbank who rides public senior transportation to a liquor store. She's lowered with her walker with the tennis balls on the front down, saunters into the place, dons a mask from the film Scream, pulls out a pistol and starts to rob the place. During the course of the robbery, she develops a relationship with the older Armenian gentleman behind the counter to the point where he likes her so much that he lets her get away with the crime in the end, and she rides off with her access card. A lovely retirement, and I was so amazed by it that I did the stupidest thing I've ever done in my life. We created a film production company called The Last Gasp Productions. On the poster, the tagline is "A pistol, a plan, and sensible shoes." We're trying to create this odd thought change process here. So we made this film, and Suzanne watched her film. She won into competition at the Valley Film Festival in the NoHo Arts District and watched her film for the first time in front of an audience of 350 people, got a standing ovation and won the audience award, keeping on stage and being asked afterwards, how do I become a rock star like you are? I also produce a radio show in LA called Experience Talks, which focuses on older adults. So since we were in the radio business, I called up Ira Glass from This American Life, and I said, "Ira, we have this pretty cool, odd, weird, off story that we think you might like." And Iris, I pitched it to him for a few minutes, He said, I love it so much that we're creating this television show for Showtime. So they came out, and the first segment of the first episode that Ira ever filmed for Showtime was Suzanne's story of making this silly little film. They came out and brought a film crew and watched these rehearsals where we were rolling older residents of this building, and the woman had done hair for Connie Stevens 40 years ago, hired an older director. So it was all about just, let's make a film about this story of this woman. So at the end of it, Suzanne walks down the street of Burbank now, and she's been seen on national television, she's been in the paper, and her movies have been in film festivals, and people stop her all the time in the grocery store and say, I gotta know, did your film get into Sundance? And her health has improved. She's now writing stage plays and taking acting classes and learning to paint and mentoring the at-risk kids that live in the school next door, go to the school next door. Her life has changed. So we wanted to do the 2.0 of this Arts Colony thing, and about 5 months ago we opened the NoHo Senior Arts Colony, and we put an 80-seat live, open to the public theater in the lobby with a marquee and a box office, and we put out a request for proposal and partnered with the Road Theater Company in the NoHo Arts District to operate it. And we're giving them basically free rent in return for providing programs in partnership with us for the residents and for school children in the area. So the concept here is that performing arts in a town where we kind of eat our elderly can accomplish things that are amazing. And the thing that I've always loved about the theater is that you can create something from nothing. There's this idea that it's this holy space that you walk in, and everyone's stories are valued. The written word, the stories of people are valued, and that has had such an incredible impact on our population. So I grew the beard for today to, one, look like Terrence, but also to kind of have a Hemingway Gandalf thing. So I wanted to look a little bit older. So I think about it as you get older in this business that there's a place for all of us.